Hope everyone's doing today. Man, just another day to have a fantastic time as we go into the box. This one, I got caught up in casual conversation. Hope everyone's doing well, though. Just gonna let some people come in on it here. Let's see. Fantastic day. Fantastic evening. Glad that could be your background here before we get the show started. I think it's so funny. I don't know what's going on with my aspect ratio. It doesn't even make any sense. Looks like a couple people are trying to pull through here. And I'm going to be sharing out the link to this broadcast to a couple more people before I get started. Pleasure seeing you too. Question. Do you think this is going to be a good week? Yes or no? Such a simple question can have a profound answer. We've been in the process of actually looking for a video editor, yeah. When it comes down to us building, we will be building for about an hour. And I will be taking any suggestions that you guys have in real time. And I'm also going to be letting you know what's to be coming next here. We're going to be pulling up the roadmap, quickly going through it to understand where we're at. When it comes down to our broadcast guests, we are setting up a specific kind of strategy for that. We don't want just anybody willy-nilly showing up onto the screen and showing up and just saying, oh, you know, and just start yapping. Look, I'm a yapper myself. I truly am. However, I yap with a purpose, and there's many people who do yap with no purpose or goal in mind. They just like to hear themselves talk, or, you know. Those are the kind of guests we really do not want to have on board. All right, about to get started in the next 4 minutes here. Have everything pulled up. Okay. Whew. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. This is going to be one of those few times I'm actually going to be testing out a new distribution method when it comes down to sharing this as well within my own network. Because we did add a link, a specific page on Box to make this stuff easier. All right, looks like I'm... Oh boy. Just a little bit more here. One sec, guys. Sorry, I do have to ignore the chat for a moment here. All right. And this is the part people start to flow on in. So we're going to be talking about cryptos. We are going to be talking about politics. And we are going to be talking about Box. All right. How's everyone doing today? As usual, I want everybody to understand that we are here to look into the box this evening. I know my aspect ratio is a bit off here. Can I fix that? No, that's weird. Huh? It's moments like this I still understand that I'm an amateur when it comes to this stuff. Why does my head look so big now? Do I need to step back? Do I need to sit back from this? Regardless, I hope everyone is doing extremely well. And when it comes down to looking into the box, this is your opportunity to join me and to join us to truly understand what is going on in the world around us and to be able to leverage our platform that lets you be rewarded, that enables you to be rewarded with said knowledge. When you decide to sign up for Box, I'll tell you something. You can actually have an opportunity and a vehicle and a community to enter the new world. If you're still confused about what Box is, it is a media and publishing platform. And we are dedicated to finance, alternative finance, cryptocurrencies, geopolitics, socioeconomics, and more. The things that actually make the world go around. And you being here today means you either have a curiosity of actually knowing what is going on in the world, you're curious to actually look into the box, and I'm so happy to be your guide. We're going to be going over some stuff with Gary Gensler, head of the SEC right there, Jerome Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, and we will also be looking into how cryptos have been pumping. I don't know if I'm actually interested in politicking today. I would politic, but you know what? Today, no politic. Just kidding. Everything's political. The first thing that we're going to be doing is actually checking out Crypto Casey. If you guys are not familiar with Crypto Casey, she is actually YouTube I've been paying attention to for a long time, been helping me with a lot of these moves as well when it comes down to exactly understanding what is going on in our market. Now, if you guys have any questions, there's a couple people who've given me suggestions of things to react to. Some of them are funny, some of them are not, but here we are. And with that, let's get started.
Trump victory in the U.S. elections, Bitcoin has pumped to new all-time highs and into the long-awaited price discovery phase with no resistance level.
It's almost at 90K.
Levels to tango with. On the Morales line, we can get access.
I want everyone to know I feel truly vindicated about my position when it comes down to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general. Because guess what? I am so happy that if you were proven wrong by everything that I've just said, I'm smiling at you. I am truly just smiling at you. Not right now, but I want you to understand just how when it comes to socioeconomics, it can be obvious and it's not that complicated. Economics is not a complicated thing. It's just whether you want to make it hard. And the thing is, if you make it hard, it makes it harder for other people around you as well. It's so silly. It is so silly. No. I don't mean to rant. This is just I'm just making a statement. That's all. I don't mean to sound smug, by the way.
To at a huge discount using the link below. Bitcoin has officially flipped back into a bullish trend on the weekly, breaking that sideways summer lull we were in since past June. And as we've discussed previously together on the channel, we could teleport to $90,000 in a snap and bounce around there for a little bit before breaking the extremely psychological price point of $100,000. Now that the US has over 260 plus confirmed pro-crypto candidates between the president, Senate, and House of Representatives taking office soon, what should we be mindful of as crypto investors?
I'm going to be grabbing some water for Saturn here. Give me a second.
To benefit us, the country, and the world at large. Hello, I'm Crypto Casey, and in this video, we are going to explore 10 things President Donald Trump said he would do for the crypto industry, and 5 things he should consider doing that would benefit us all in the United States at large. Let's hit it. Please be sure to check out our sponsors, Ledger, Tangem, and Go Baby Trade. As crypto investors, we need to diversify technological risk by owning multiple and using multiple dedicated hardware wallets to secure crypto. Ledger offers premium crypto wallets with extra security layers like Ledger Stacks and Flex devices. They are the first of their kind as a new wallet category, secure touchscreen. And for our community, we get the best discount on the market that comes with $10 worth of free Bitcoin. Tangem Wallet is the most affordable and easiest crypto wallet to set up on the market right now. It's the size of a credit card, multi-currency, multi-chain, and it's perfect for beginners and advanced users alike. And diversify your investment strategy by generating profit off of the volatility of the crypto markets using Go Baby Trade, an AI-driven robotic crypto trader that connects to our Coinbase account and trades 24/7. We've been getting a ton of great feedback over the past few months, so join one of the free weekly webinars to learn more. Scroll down and use links below to redeem any special offers they all have for us. Sweet. So what is President Donald Trump going to do with regard to the crypto industry? Well, here's a nice compilation of 10 things he said he was going to do, put together in this 1.5-minute video by Altcoin Daily. Check it out.
Hello, Bitcoiners. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler. I will appoint a new SEC.
On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler. Day one. You know what is so funny? Again, I'm not necessarily a pro-Trump guy, but when it comes down to January 20th, when he's actually back in office, I am so curious if he really has the balls to get rid of a lot of these you could say prehistoric bureaucrats.
Chairman who believes America should build the future, not block the future. Upon taking office, I will immediately appoint a Bitcoin and crypto presidential advisory council. Their task will be to design transparent regulatory guidance for the benefit of the entire industry, and they will get it done in 100 days. As part of our effort to provide regulatory clarity, we will create a framework to enable the safe responsible expansion of stable coins. I will ensure that the future of crypto and the future of Bitcoin will be made in the USA, not driven overseas.
Sometimes you can actually tell that this guy has received a lot of talking points.
I will support the right to self-custody. I will keep Elizabeth Warren and her goons away from your Bitcoin. It will be the policy of my administration, United States of America, to keep 100% of all the Bitcoin the U.S. government currently holds or acquires into the future. This will serve in effect as the core of the strategic national Bitcoin stockpile. Today, I repeat my pledge to commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht to a sentence of time served. It's enough. And I will never allow the creation.
Do you guys know who that is? Okay. The libertarian in me is now starting to say something. Russ Ulbricht did nothing wrong. He is simply a businessman doing business.
Of a central bank digital currency.
You are completely welcome
to the
for
moon,
like
as
what?
we say, it's going to the moon. I want America to be the nation that leads the way, and that's what's going to happen. No, you're going to be very happy with me.
All right, great. All bullish for crypto at large. Now, what else should Trump consider doing that would benefit us in the country at large? Let's explore 5 things President Trump and Congress should do that would definitely help us out immensely. 1. Dismantle the Federal Reserve. Congress has the power.
Guys, the Federal Reserve. This is the first time I've ever actually felt something where I was like, you know what? We would be having a different conversation right now. If the Federal Reserve did not exist, I would be a bit of a happier camper. Many of us would be. But
power over the currency of the United States, including the power to coin money, create interest-free currency, and regulate its value. And it also has the power.
America should not have the authority to control
why isn't the US issuing
how much money is in the system like that. The Federal Reserve is unconstitutional.
Because of the corrupt ring of private global central banks. The fact that we are issuing treasury bonds, debt, that the Federal Reserve, a private central bank, buys with money it creates out of nothing, literally out of thin air, and charges us interest on it, an interest rate they decide, a power Congress also has. It's a blatant scam. In the Fed, we don't need a private central bank enslaving the country and its citizens. 2. We need to convert the US fiat currency back into an equity-based currency, similar to when it was backed by gold. Backing the US dollar with tangible assets like gold or a basket of commodities, and definitely cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, would make the currency less susceptible to inflation, fluctuations in the global financial markets, all while preserving the purchasing power of the dollar over time and providing a more stable store of value for savers and investors. An equity-based currency could also increase the public's trust in the financial system by providing a more transparent and tangible link between its value and underlying assets, offering some reassurance that money isn't subject to arbitrary manipulation by central.
The reason that we would remove the gold standard is because the U.S. didn't want to deal with the issue of debt in of itself. Because if you're able to be the primary issuance of the debtor and the dettee at the same time, therefore you're able to print said money however you decide to, guess what? You know what happens? The only thing that actually backs the authority of the value of whatever you are issuing is just violence.
Banks or governments. Nice. 3. We need to dismantle corporate personhood. Corporate personhood is related to the 14th Amendment and its core principle that no person can be deprived of rights without due process of law. And the 14th Amendment was originally created to protect freed slaves after the Civil War. However, it has ended up almost entirely applying to and benefiting big corporations to the detriment of consumers and the future of the United States at large. In the 1970s, corporations managed to have money legally determined as a form of speech, And since under corporate personhood, corporations have the right to free speech, they are allowed to use money to protect their interests and influence public opinion, which has been used to challenge restrictions on advertising and lobbying. So corporations have the right to unlimited political spending, which means they can spend unlimited amounts of money to influence political outcomes. Personhood also allows corporations to assert rights to privacy, the right to sue, and the right to due process. Basically, corporate personhood created a society where corporations buy politicians to buy favorable legal and regulatory frameworks for themselves and buy consumers' attention to create a favorable society through media and advertising for generating profit. During the golden age of advertising in the 1960s, the US saw a rise in mass media and consumer culture, with corporations using advertising to promote materialism and consumerism, where people
This is this with everything that she's saying right now. The US has dug itself in such a deep hole. Now, this goes all the way back. This is a history lesson. When it comes down to removal of the gold standard consequences in regards to Nixon. And this is, let's go off of a LinkedIn post, okay? Now, in 1933, the United States took a significant step towards inflation by temporarily moving off the gold standard. President Franklin D. Roosevelt suspended the gold standard, which had previously constrained the Federal Reserve's, an unconstitutional entity in itself. It constrained their ability to increase the money supply. Now, is that bad? It's wrong that they have the ability to increase the money supply at will, as the dollar was pegged to a fixed amount of gold. By abandoning the standard, the Federal Reserve gained the capacity to print more money, effectively inducing inflation. Executive Order 6102, Roosevelt issued Executive Order 6102, which mandated that the U.S. citizens exchange their gold coins, their bullion, their certificates for U.S. dollars. This measure was aimed to prevent, coerce is another good word. It is to coerce people to no longer hoard gold and increase the Federal Reserve's gold reserves. So realize this. Did you know under the Federal Reserve building, the amount of gold that exists to this day, right now, it is underground. This action rendered American citizens economically dependent on a private corporation for currency, with the Federal Reserve controlling the money supply and accumulating gold while issuing debt-backed currency. In what world does this make sense? In what world would you say, like, you know what? I'm going to knock on your door and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a piece of paper that represents all of the assets that you have. It is just now, it's no longer the case. You can't use any of your wealth to trade. You can't use any of your wealth or your assets to be able to build a life, because you're going to need to actually be dependent on us. Okay? That is the way that it works. That is the way that it works. Hey, yo, Snazzy, how you doing? As well as Evie, how you doing as well? But whenever it comes down to this, I'll tell you something. This is where a lot of cheese starts to happen. The devaluation of the US dollar. Again, we are in a situation that Trump is the president and he seems to have a complete hold. This is not the Republican Party. This is the MAGA Party. And no, again, if you say I'm pro-Trump or I'm against Trump, no. I am simply a social libertarian that is focused on improving the material conditions of the average person around me. And if you have an opposite thing, if you don't want to raise the standard of living of those around you and yourself, you are my enemy. That's it. This goes into open market operations and interest rate reductions, okay? The Federal Reserve engaged in open market operations by purchasing government securities, thereby increasing the banking system's reserves and the overall money supply. Additionally, lowering interest rates made borrowing cheaper. There's always a cost to borrow money. Encouraging spending and speculation phenomena only possible. This is only possible within fiat currency system, often misnamed as an investment. This is where the money is not real. The money is an idea. And if you have enough people believe an idea, then it becomes real. Until there is another entity or another force that comes in and says, you are a liar. And yes, the American dollar is technically still a lie. Monetary policy was complemented by fiscal policy, with the government increasing the spending on public works and social welfare programs under the New Deal. These actions created jobs and increased cash flow in the economy, contributing to inflationary pressure. The Federal Reserve, facing a natural demise in 1933, was saved by legislative support. And the most recent instant of this that was very similar was 2008. To this day, people are still suffering from the 2008 crash. I mean, what are we talking about at that point? Converting American citizens into debt dependents. You could say slaves, debt slaves, and also wages, but that's a conversation for another time. We, as the American people, have been utilizing time, have been taking advantage of time for far too long, to the point that the emperor has no clothes. If you don't know what the emperor has no clothes, it means like it's so obviously fake. It's almost hilarious. If the emperor has no clothes and they're up on stage or they're preaching to you and they're completely naked and you can see everything that's going on. That's also why there's been a huge distrust in the media. All right, I'm done yapping on that.
People are encouraged to prioritize buying and consuming goods over their own health and well-being. Ever since corporations were granted human rights and beyond, and used their rights and powers to fabricate a materialistic society based on consumption, the United States has been on the decline. By dismantling corporate personhood, Congress has the opportunity to restore greater accountability and fairness to our so-called democracy. Removing the legal fiction of corporate personhood would help reduce the outsized influence corporations have on our political process, particularly regarding campaign financing and lobbying efforts. Yeah, something Congress probably would definitely never be down with. Great. Before exploring the last two things the US should do, listen up. Any crypto you're accumulating over the long term, make sure you are transferring it off of exchanges to hold securely onto multiple cold storage hardware wallets. Don't keep all of your eggs in one basket when dealing with this new cutting-edge, high-risk technology. Tangent Wallet is a set of 3 wallets that work just like a set of 3 house keys or car keys that function as backups. It's by far the easiest crypto wallet to set up and use. It's the size of a credit card. It fits perfectly in our day-to-day wallets, so we can buy, sell, trade, and transact crypto on the fly. And Ledger offers their premium crypto hardware wallet options like the Ledger Stacks and Flex devices with extra security layers. They're the first of their kind as a new crypto wallet category, which is a secure touchscreen, featuring a full keyboard and keypad, making it super user-friendly. Ledger is offering our community the best discount available on the market that comes with...
I do have a Ledger
free
hardware
Bitcoin
wallet, by
for
the way,
limited time.
just in
So
case
be
you
sure to
didn't
scroll
know.
down and use links below to redeem all the special offers they have for us. Cool. Back to the 5 things the US should do. 4. This one we actually maybe have achieved. We need to go full-blown pro-crypto, embracing all aspects of it in order to encourage and foster innovation and encourage people, businesses, and money to flow into our country instead of fleeing it. We need to be completely open and accepting of all stablecoins denominated in the US dollar, because it would pretty much guarantee our status as the world's reserve currency. If people, countries, and businesses around the world are free to transact in the dollar in the form of stablecoins on different blockchain networks, including decentralized ones that even the US government can't freeze or sanction, where anybody can use it without restriction, the threat of BRICS or alternative currencies taking over would pretty much be eliminated. Sweet. And 5, this one may sound crazy, but it would be huge. We need to end taxation. Taxation is theft. It's a scam. Everyone believes it helps maintain roads, pays for Social Security, defense, etc. Look, we are printing money out of thin air.
Okay. That's the extreme libertarian take. So, to end taxation, I think taxation, it's only valuable when you can see where the money's going. This is some global citizen stuff right here. This is a conversation for another day.
So that money is now just going towards the interest on our debt, now even more so than military spending. Taxation is a form of control. It's designed to keep us poor. And even if all of these corporations or rich folks that evade taxes one way or another paid in, it would only be enough to fund our government for like 3 months at the rate we are spending. Taxation is a scam. We should do away with all taxes, and we wouldn't be able to fathom the amount of money, commerce, talent, people, businesses, industry, etc. that would flood into our economy and make the US unstoppable. Awesome. If you would like to learn more about Tangent Wallet and how it works step by step, check out this video. If you would like to see a full review of both Ledger Stacks and Flex devices and their extra security features, check out this video. And to get the best discount on the market, Ledger...
That is a different flavor of anarchism, but I'll tell you something. I'm not pro or against.
So previously, Trump was against Bitcoin, but now he's become a great supporter. So after Trump has won the presidency, people are expecting a crypto boom in 2025. I'm going to show you why. But first, I want to show you what Trump has recently said about Bitcoin and also about crypto.
This afternoon, I'm laying out my plan to ensure that the United States will be the crypto capital of the planet and the Bitcoin superpower of the world. Upon taking office, I will immediately appoint a Bitcoin and crypto presidential advisory council. If I am elected, it will be the policy of my administration, United States of America, to keep 100% of all the Bitcoin the U.S. government currently holds or acquires into the future. We'll keep 100%. I hope you do well, please. If crypto is going to define the future, I want to be mined, minted, and made in the USA. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman.
Okay, now I want to tell you this. Just to clarify, Trump said that he wants to fire Gary Gensler. Okay, so Gary Gensler...
Which is actually going to be significant for Box tokens as well as XRP, as well as anybody within our network here. Everybody knows that is actually very big news.
Gensler is the chair of the SEC. Gensler has an aggressive stance against crypto, and Trump is all about loosening up regulation. So Trump wants him out. Now, I want to show you the Bitcoin Act in Congress that Trump is backing. So here it is. This originated in the Senate from Senator Loomis. So the short title of the bill is the Bitcoin Act of 2024. Now, if you go to page 2 of the bill, you're going to see this. The US government would buy and store large quantities of Bitcoin to strengthen the financial condition of the United States and hedge against economic uncertainty and monetary instability. So the US government would essentially establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So there would be a purchase program And this is how it would work. So the government would buy up to 200,000 Bitcoins per year over a 5-year period. So up to 1 million Bitcoin in total. But that's the thing. If the government started buying up Bitcoin, then it would skyrocket the price. And then we would be talking about a figure that's much higher. I would say minimum hundreds of billions of dollars, perhaps even $1 trillion. But if you think about it, even if it amounts to $1 trillion that they're going to spend on Bitcoin, that's not a lot of money for the US government if it's spread out over 5 years, because they deficit spend. The federal government deficit spends about $2 trillion a year. So what's 1 trillion more spread out over 5 years? And to me, I think it's funny because if you think about it, how are they going to get this money to buy the Bitcoin? You know what they're going to do? The Federal Reserve, working in conjunction with the federal governments, they're just going to print the money, the fiat currency.
That is correct. There is going to be more inflation, guys. Unfortunately, they need to print more money in order to purchase said Bitcoin. And there is a bit of a trap here. I highly encourage, again, buy Bitcoin.
So US dollars out of thin air to buy the Bitcoin. I mean, how else are they going to do it? And the Bitcoins that are acquired by the purchase program would be hodled for a minimum of 20 years. Now, I want to show you this. Here are the countries and governments that are currently holding Bitcoin.
20 years
the
is
United States is already the top government.
And by the way, 20 years, why 20 years? Is because it's a generational cycle.
With around 213,000 Bitcoin. So they came across this Bitcoin by confiscating it from people that were doing illegal activities. But you'll see that countries and governments are small holders of Bitcoin. So take a look at this. All the countries and governments combined own about 529,000 Bitcoin in total. So that's about only 2.5% of all Bitcoin. Now, I want you to keep this in mind. The bill wants to buy up to 1 million Bitcoin, right? So right now, there are just under 20 million Bitcoin in existence. There's only about 1 million more Bitcoin that will ever be created. So 94.6% of all Bitcoin that will ever be created have already been issued. So there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin created. That is the cap. Now, this is very important for you to know. Trump is backing crypto along with the Republicans. But this bill, the Bitcoin Act, is now gaining traction. It's gaining support from the Democrats as well. So Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna is a perfect example that's convincing more of his party to support Bitcoin and this act. Okay, so that is the current situation with Trump and the Bitcoin Act. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I look forward to reading your comments. Please subscribe. I thank you for the support, and I wish you a very nice day.
Subscribe if you've not, because you already know I'm subscribed. Haha. But nonetheless, it is now the top of the hour. I will be taking a break for a moment. What do? I'll let you guys deal with this guy.
What is this?
If you're the Democrat, what are you going to do for the next 2 years? How do you regroup?
Therapy. We're all going to therapy.
Ugh.
I don't know why.
Like, that's how you know, dude. That's the difference between liberals who are incredibly wealthy and incredibly out of touch versus people who do care about what's going on. My immediate reaction to this massive defeat was, one, obviously the Democratic Party needs to fix everything, and they suck. But more importantly than that was to immediately start trying to figure out ways to organize and defend one another, okay? Like, oh, we'll just go to therapy. Okay, you can't therapy your way out of your immediate family members being deported from this country. You can't therapy your way if the Trump administration is now saying they're going to start targeting people who pro-Palestinian voices with the Esther Project. You can't therapy your way out of the regulatory agencies getting further crippled and the water supply that we already have, the national water supply we already have that is already poisoned, getting extra poisoned. Like, there is no therapy that will protect people. Therapy is only good in this circumstance if it just like upsets you, if the Trump administration and his victories just like hurt your feelings. Okay, like this is so it's so different than just saying like, oh, I'm just gonna go to therapy. I don't like that.
Why are we we here? There's nothing. If you're a Democrat, all we can say is we hope that Susie decides that she's going to take a long vacation, that they hire some terrible people and make some mistakes to give us a chance, right?
Jokes like that stigmatize therapy. I mean, I'm not even talking about that right now. Like, therapy is good overall, but it's like, if your answer to this question is like, what are we going to do? If your answer to this question is like, oh, I'm going to go to therapy, I'm going to do a lot of therapy, you're a profoundly unserious person who does not recognize the legitimate damage, the material harm that a second Trump administration is going to cause now that he is like more overtly malicious as well. He's more vindictive. He has more sycophants around him, and he is ready to let it rip. I think personally, if your answer to all of that is just therapy and not like, we have to organize, we have to make sure that we have more solid institutions that are outside of the scope of the immediate political party system. Like, there is no ACLU equivalent any longer. We need to ensure that there is some semblance of legal defense that we can mount towards all of the battles that we are going to have to take on to protect migrants, to protect trans people, to protect women, to protect women's right to have bodily autonomy, to women's right to get an abortion. Like, this all requires tremendous amount of political action. And it's very frustrating that like your only response to this is like, oh, I feel bad. Like, is that the worst thing? Is that the worst aspect of Trump taking over the reins of this country? Yeah, if you're like a rich media personality, I guess. If you're a rich media personality, yeah, it just like kind of makes you sad because the vision of a future that you wanted to design was destroyed once again, okay? You agree with the Democratic Party, you defend the Democratic Party, and that third way neoliberalism has been a disastrous failure. The people looked at that method, the people looked at that vision and said, fuck that, I don't want that shit at all. I'm ready to blow this up. So now your feelings are hurt. You're not thinking about the actual tangible material consequences of a second Trump administration. You're not. But the majority of people who make under 50K voted for Trump. I'm very familiar. Okay, I know. That goes back to precisely what I'm saying. In an environment where people's real lived experiences are not being addressed, in an environment where people are renters, in an environment where people don't have job security, don't get meaningful wages, like livable wages from a singular job. So now they have multiple jobs. Now they have to do Uber on the side. Okay. They're mad. They're mad about the fucking future. They're angry. They're frustrated that no one is addressing their needs. A lot of people are reeling from this massive L that the Democratic Party took. In that process, they're basically trying to figure out, like, do we go back to the old ways? Do we go back to the old messaging? And many people at the top are saying, yes, please, let's just do the old thing. And the only method that they have is still going right. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. They only know how to go right. So they're just trying to message their way out of this by being like, how about we do the same thing and we tack to the right and say, you know, we write out trans people completely. And it just feels like making me lose my mind a little bit. Democrats are realizing woke is broke. Morning Joe Crew reads entire Maureen Dowd column slamming identity politics. Kamala ran as a transnational gang prosecuting cop linked arm in arm with Liz Cheney. What campaign do these people watch? You can't unleash a million Harry Sassans upon the land and get people on board if the top of the line message is not good. Those guys are party loyalists. They will communicate whatever you need them to. Unleashing a million Harry Sassans on the heartland is not going to change people's material conditions, their material circumstances. You have to make sure that the message, the top line message, is good. If the top line message is bad, then the Harry Sassans, the loyal soldiers of the Democratic Party, are unfortunately going to be pushing a shitty message. One thing that hasn't been talked about, I guess, as much is perception. Is the perception of the Democratic Party broadly defined by right-wing commentators? Yes. And right-wing commentators don't tackle the issue head on. They make up straw men to present you as, okay? They make up unhinged straw men. They say stuff like the Democratic Party is the party of like kitty litter in school classrooms. And in this current way where misinformation runs rampant and everyone is seeking out their own personal echo chambers and they don't give a shit about what the truth is, there are a shit ton of right-wing broadcasters that also echo that sentiment where they're like, yeah, you're right. The Democratic Party is the kitty litter party. So then they mistake that as the way people are, transphobic. We're too pro-trans. Like, they weren't even pro-trans at all. They never said anything about fucking trans people. The issue is, if you don't have any real material solutions to the problems that people are experiencing, they can basically write you as whatever the they want to on the right, which is what they're doing. They're doing that successfully because you are rudderless. You are constantly retriangulating to a marginally less bad version of the right party. If that's what you're doing, then yeah, you have no values. You have no firm commitments to anything. Okay? You need to be a party that stands for something. If you're not, then yeah, people are gonna just like make up shit about you, and people are gonna and people on the ground are gonna believe it. Just came to say you're an ass, you didn't help Kamala win, and you have a huge audience clown. You are the reason many didn't vote or voted for Stein. I don't know why so many people in this chat that come into this chat to say stupid things like this, like, don't have even a little bit of restraint and are so their overall refusal to like recognize exactly what just took place is very stupid. Like, first and foremost, third party votes collectively could not make up for the resounding defeat that Kamala Harris got in every single state, just so you understand. So you're yelling at the wrong thing. You're not even right in this situation. Like, stop voter blaming. Stop blaming the voters. Start blaming the campaign. It is always the fault of the campaign. There is no world in which it's just the voters are too stupid to understand. Like, that's not how this works. You ran a bad campaign. You did not get people to go out and vote for you. You did not have a captivating message. You and your refusal to recognize the inability, or to recognize the Democratic Party's lack of interest. It was both the message and the messenger. Yes, you are right. It is very frustrating. People go, you did not help Kamala win. I cannot outflank the campaign. I am incapable, just like every door knocker is incapable of outflanking multiple millions of dollars of messaging coming from the campaign. That's the issue. Think about it this way, dumbass. If that's how this worked, Taylor Swift would have literally captured the attention of every white woman on the planet. That's not how this works. It's so stupid. You think I got more motion than Taylor Swift? You think I got more motion than Beyonce? You think I got more motion than every fucking celebrity that endorsed Kamala Harris? Like, what planet are you living on? That's not how that works, man. You're the reason why the Democrats lose all the time. Because you're a docile little pig and eat the slop that is served to you by liberal media. Not a single interest in your mind in trying to analyze things, in looking for an alternative reason. No, I'm just going to be angry all the time and get mad at the fucking voters, even though it is a demonstrable failure of an outreach strategy. And then, not only that, I'm going to go and yell at the one guy who was ringing the fucking alarm bells the entire time. I did not want Donald Trump to win because I understand the danger he presents. Why doesn't the Democratic Party? Because if they truly understood the real dangers that Donald Trump represented to American democracy or America's future in general, then they should have run a better fucking campaign instead of hugging and kissing Liz Cheney, who everyone understood, including but not limited to people in the circle, in the inner circles, that were like, why are you doing this? Stop doing this, please.
All right, guys. So Joe Rogan has now done a couple podcasts after Trump won, and he's saying some things. He's saying some things here that I think the subtext is actually a little bit more profound than people are letting on. So let's start with this clip here. Look at his reaction to Trump winning. Listen to what he says, because this really, really gives away the game about how Trump sat across from him for 3 hours and lied to his face repeatedly, and Joe took it. All right, here we go.
Turns out voting works. It's real. As much as we fucking thought they had it rigged, as much as we thought there was shenanigans and bullshit and it's just a puppet show and there's no way anybody could buck the system, turns out voting is still real.
I like how he thinks that's funny, right? Isn't that funny? That somebody running for president of the United States who sat across from you for 3 hours lied to your face directly, relentlessly, and you didn't have shit to fucking say about it. Isn't that funny? It's funny, isn't it? Wow, voting's real. Turns out Trump is fucking full of shit, and in 2020 he actually lost, and in 2024 he won. Wow. One of the reasons this is so disappointing is because I was on Rogan's show in 2020 on Election Day, and I told him and Tim Dillon about this thing called the Red Mirage, what was likely to happen, which is it's going to look like Trump is winning early in the night because you got the rural areas coming in first. You got the votes that come in from Election Day get counted first. Those are going to skew way more Republican because Trump has been shitting on mail-in votes and calling it fraudulent, right? And then later on, you get more of the cities come in and you get the mail-in votes counted. Those are going to skew way more Democratic, also because Democrats were taking COVID more seriously, so they wanted to vote by mail. They didn't want to go to a place with a lot of people when it was time to cast the votes. And exactly what I said would happen is what happened. And he told me after that fact that every time people have come to him with rigged election conspiracy theories where they think Trump actually won and it was stolen from him, he told me what I would tell them is, Kyle Kalinske told me exactly how the election was going to go before it happened and explained it to me in clear terms. And so I never bought into any of the election rigging conspiracies. This is what he said. Then he interviews Trump, sits across from Trump, lets Trump babble relentlessly about how the election was stolen from him, doesn't push back, and then now after the fact admits, oh yeah, that guy's been fucking lying the entire fucking time, and it turns out voting is real. Yeah, you don't say. You don't say. But it's funny. It's a funny thing, right? Oh, it's so funny that the guy I endorsed because he came on my fucking podcast ended up winning despite the fact that he's a torturer and a war criminal and a corrupt goon who's a con artist and a fraud. So, all right, there's one clip. Now let me show you this one.
Did you, were you nervous about endorsing Trump or no?
I usually try to stay out of it.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was getting urged to by Dana and there was quite a few people.
So as we pointed out, he's embedded himself in a right-wing cocoon where everybody jacks each other off and talks about how right they are and how stupid the Democrats are and how stupid the left is and how evil they are. And now his entire friend group is all right-wing. And he's admitting here, yeah, Dana White was pressuring me and many other people were pressuring me and they were saying, why don't you endorse Trump? And then he did.
It makes a difference. I kind of already stated what I thought about the way things were going.
Oh, it made a difference, Joe. Oh, it made a difference. Did you note that Donald Trump picked up with demographic groups he normally wouldn't have picked up with, and there are many young people in particular who ended up voting for him?
That some radical change need to take place.
Yeah.
Radical change. Trump is a revolutionary conservative. He delivered in 2016 George W. Bush on steroids, and he's going to do the same fucking thing now. Yeah, it's radical change. It's radical change for the worse.
You know, when we were talking about before with the way the country feels, like the way the country felt when Biden was in office was shaky. Because regardless of what you thought about his policies.
That is such a giveaway. Regardless of what you think about his policies. Well, hold on. That's what politics is supposed to be about. Policies. What are they doing to improve people's lives? Regardless of the policies. No, why would you do that? Why would you say regardless of the policies? But wait, it's about to get better.
It was real clear something was wrong with him. And they were lying to us.
Oh, yeah.
So that alone makes the whole country feel uneasy.
So the reason why Kamala and Biden were so bad is they were lying to us. And that makes the whole country feel uneasy because they're liars. They're liars. And that's unacceptable. Let me play that first clip for you one more time.
Turns out voting works. It's real. As much as we fucking thought they had it rigged, as much as we thought there was shenanigans and bullshit and it's just a puppet show and there's no way anybody could buck the system, turns out voting is still real.
So when Trump lies to his face for 3 hours, it's ha 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 he he. Turns out voting is real. But when Kamala and Biden lie and Democrats lie and the media lies, like, oh, actually Joe Biden's okay. He's not too old. His brain is still functioning. That's unacceptable, and that goes too far. This is the double standard. Hey, Joe, if you had done research and prep for your interview with Trump, you would have found out that there were 30,573, I believe is the exact number, of lies that Trump told during his first term. Even if you want to say the liberal media skewed those numbers and they counted things as lies that weren't lies. Okay, cut it in half. Cut it in more than half. 15,000 lies Trump told his time in office, which makes him probably one of the most prolific liars that's ever sat in the White House. Put him right up there with George W. Bush lying us into the Iraq War. 15,000 lies. Apparently that wasn't a bridge too far. Apparently Rogan's issue is not, I just can't, for a liar, I can't vote for a liar. Guys, one of the things Trump said to Rogan's face is, Trump was like, I didn't say lock her up. When the people would say lock her up, I'd say, whoa, hold on. Trump said this to Rogan's face, that lock her up, bro, lock her up. I don't believe in lock her up. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Here's a compilation of Trump saying lock her up.
You should lock her up, I'll tell you.
One more time.
You should lock her up, I'll tell you.
I never said lock her up. I never said lock her up. They would say lock her up. I'd say, hold on.
Lock up the Bidens. Lock up Hillary.
Lock up Hillary. I never said lock her up. Quote, lock up Hillary.
Lock 'em up, yeah. Lock 'em up.
Lock 'em up. Yeah, lock 'em up. One more time. Here we go.
You should lock her up, I'll tell you. Lock up the Bidens. Lock up Hillary. Lock 'em up, yeah. Lock 'em up.
You think Rogan doesn't know that Trump literally one of the things he ran on was lock her up? You think he doesn't know that? So when Trump says to his face, I didn't say lock her up, and Rogan doesn't pounce on that, maybe he just has a double standard. Maybe he doesn't care as much about the truth as he's pretending to care about here. Because he's laughing. Tee-hee, Trump. Turns out voting works. Turns out Trump is completely and utterly full of shit. Yeah, Joe. And if you bothered to read through any of the indictments before you sat across from Trump and played patty cake with him, you would have learned a thing or two. You would have learned about the charges against Trump. Conspiracy to defraud the United States. Conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. Conspiracy against rights, which is basically throwing out the idea of one person, one vote. Getting rid of people's votes because Trump wants to override the results of the election. If he bothered to do any research before talking to Trump and actually internalize these things, he would have known even Donald Trump knows the election wasn't stolen from him. This is according to his own words. In the indictment, you learn that he acknowledged to one of his co-conspirators that the rigged election claims were, quote, crazy. He thought Sidney Powell, who was leading the charge, was crazy. When Trump tried to get Pence to not accept the results of the election, Trump said to Pence directly, "You're too honest, Mike." In other words, I know that Pence is telling the truth, and I'm telling him, don't be so honest. So lie for me. Lie for me. They tried to open up sham election crime investigations. Trump tried to force the Justice Department to send letters to states fraudulently saying that they identified significant concerns that may have impacted the outcome of the election. They internally described their plan as the fraudulent elector memo and fraudulent elector instructions. The list goes on and on here. Some of the people who did the fake elector slates were literally found guilty. So they have to suffer the consequences, but Trump gets away with it. And you sat across from him and did fucking nothing. And let him lie relentlessly to your audience. And now you're pretending after the fact like, oh, the Democrats are such egregious liars, bro. And by the way, what ended up happening with Biden? He dropped out. He cleared the way. He did the thing that all the Republicans were saying he should do. Hey, drop out. Your brain doesn't work anymore. Then he does it, and then it's still, bro, but they lied to us. Why are their lies not okay, but Trump's lies, their lies are not okay, but Trump's lies are okay? They're fine. You don't even push back on them. So just to remind you, this is the guy Joe Rogan was. You ready for this?
I really believe if Michelle Obama runs, she
win.
wins.
She's good.
She's great. She's the wife of the best president that we have had in our lifetime. I've never voted right-wing in my life. I consider universal basic income a really good idea. I want free college education.
Take it easy. Hello, Bernie.
How are you, Joe?
Wonderful. Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I like Tulsi and I like Bernie. That's it.
Oh, yeah?
Everybody else can eat shit.
Look at you, fucking progressive.
Yeah. I think I'll probably vote for Bernie. I think he's looking out for the interests of the working people. And I think he wants people to have a better life and do better. And I'm all for that. And if that means I have to pay more in tax, like people think, oh, you're a socialist. I've heard people say that. Oh, you're a fucking socialist, bro. Like, first of all, he's not even a socialist. He's a democratic socialist. It's a different thing. I would like to spend more in taxes if they could fix inner city communities and take these poor neighborhoods and throw a fuckload of them. Spend more, you fucking Republican piece of shit. 87% of scientists said that human activity is driving global warming. I'm very pro-choice. I'm very women's rights, civil rights, gay rights, trans rights. I'm even universal health care. Obviously, this protected status is driving me crazy. This thing that Trump's doing with children that were born in other countries and then brought over here as children, and then they're talking about deporting them. That drives me fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's
that kind of shit. And the hard right version of that is despicable. These people that I see online, why didn't they apply for citizenship? Oh, who knows? Maybe because they're fucking 13. I don't give a fuck if they broke the law. You don't take parents and kids and separate them. You just fucking don't. You know Alonzo?
No, who's it?
A funny comedian.
Yeah.
He said, he goes, not all Donald Trump supporters are racist, but all racists are Donald Trump supporters.
He definitely awakened that side.
But the January 6th thing is important.
See, it is important,
And
but is it the 6 months later? It should be the ruling number one conversation of a journalist?
I think it's really important. And one of the reasons why I think it's important because it highlights the reasons why a guy like Donald Trump is so fucking dangerous. Is because a guy can incite a bunch of morons to do something really fucking stupid. As far as trans people, some trans people listening to this, I got nothing but love for you. For everybody. And in fact, Eddie Izzard is one of my all-time favorite guests.
Oh, I love Izzard.
The right-wing thing is just an easy way to dismiss me, because I'm not right-wing. I can't recommend your book, Race Matters, enough.
Dave Smith was also just on his show, and he was saying, like, Trump needs to understand now it's time to actually make a change, and we don't want any of these wars, and we don't want any of these neocons in government, and he needs to understand that. And, oh, would you look at that? Would you look at that? Trump already picked Brian Hook to run the State Department's transition team. That guy's a neocon warmonger. He wants war with Iran. He wants Bill Hagerty as Secretary of State. This is a guy who's a warmonger. He wants to stand up to China, and he wants to stand with Israel as they commit a genocide in Gaza. He also is already planning his business-friendly agenda of tax cuts and deregulation. He wants to his top ranks will be filled with billionaires, former CEOs, tech leaders, and loyalists. So the whole idea of him anti-war, bullshit. Pro-worker, bullshit. And then, of course, we have the Trump already offered the job of U.S. ambassador to the UN to Elise Stefanik, who called for unrestricted U.S. aid to Israel, and she led a smear campaign against pro-Palestine college students, calling them anti-Semites, basically comparing them to Nazis, trying to get them censored and banned, trying to get universities